Hello, and today I want to talk about how if we want to start living for God, then we have to stop living for the world because we can't please God and the world at the same time. So I want to talk about modesty and also hookup culture. So I've been started my modesty journey like a few months ago, right? And so I've been going to the gyms for my job, doing free posture scans and body fat scans on the members. And so I've done this 3 times, and the third time, not that many people were coming up to my table that I set up at the booth. And so then my mom says to me like, oh, well, why don't you start like wearing different outfits? Like you're wearing old lady clothes there. Why don't you wear something sexy, to attract people to come up to the booth, right? First of all, I already got rid of all of my immodest clothing because I am done living that lifestyle. And the second thing is, we cannot go back and conform to the patterns of the world. And this is what I told her in Romans chapter 12, verse 2. It says, don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. And so I guess an easy way to get people to come up to the table, I don't even think that would even be an easy way to come into the table, because nowadays, a lot of people are wearing revealing outfits, especially in the gym, and so if I was wearing a revealing outfit, it's kind of like I just basically look like everyone else anyway, so it's not really that enticing anymore. But anyways, this is what I have on, guys. I don't think it's terrible. I think it's a nice shirt. It might be, maybe it looks better without the sweater on, but it's kind of cold out, and I don't think there's anything wrong with this outfit. But when I first started dressing modestly, I did kind of think like, oh, I look like an old lady, like I look terrible, right? That's just because of the internalized male gaze. And so we think that we only look good wearing like sexy clothes, but that's not true, and that's not what the real you thinks, right? But so as you come further along your journey and walk with God, you will start to realize that you still look nice when you dress modestly, and you're gonna stop thinking that the outfits that you previously thought looked like an old lady look like an old lady. But the thing you have to realize is that yes, you might be able to attract people by dressing immodestly and wearing a revealing outfit, but that doesn't mean that this person is going to stay in your life because they don't have the right motives, right? So say I were to wear some sexy outfit doing these posture scans and I enticed people to come up. They probably, I guess they want to just come up, talk to me, ask me on a date, I don't know. Like, they're probably not going to want to actually do what I want them to do, which is eventually get them to make an appointment to see the chiropractor, right? And so if I'm enticing people up for a specific reason that has nothing to do with what my goal is, like, it just doesn't even make any sense. I want people to come up because they want to do the free posture scan. I have the sign that says free posture scans, or the free body fat scan, right? That's why I want people to come up, not because of me and what I look like, whatever. So obviously I didn't take her advice, guys, and I got one person that was interested today. I went in the morning, so there wasn't that many people there, and I'm gonna go again later at night when there's more people at night. But so in the past, when I would dress immodestly, because I basically was doing that, I guess I started in college, and until after college, I just started last year. But so it would be to attract boys and to get a boyfriend. Meanwhile, that didn't really work. I did have boyfriends in the past, but most of the time I was just attracting people because they wanted to hook up with me and then never talk to me again. So if you want a boyfriend, you want somebody to come into your life that's going to stay into your life, turn into your husband, right? Dressing immodestly, you could attract someone, like I said, but they're not necessarily going to stay in your life because they might just want that one thing. And so one of the reasons I dress modestly is so that people don't come up to me for the wrong reasons. Even though in a modest outfit, somebody can still come up to you and they still want to only hook up with you. But another thing is, I don't like how as a society we really sexualize women, and it's even more so today. People used to dress modestly, and then the clothing kept getting revealing, more and more and more revealing, right? And so I just don't want to be a part of that because I don't think it's right, and it's kind of like living for the male gaze, and I don't want to do that, and a lot of it's because of the media and these celebrities and famous singers that people listen to. They go on the stage and they're wearing really revealing clothing, even if it's a a female singer, and her target audience is women, and it's all women at the concert, they still have on a very revealing clothing. And then obviously people like to copy, what famous people do, and they, want to be like them and dress like them and whatever. So that's part of the reason why a lot of people dress immodestly. And I also saw in another video about how it's like when the feminist movement happened, it was supposed to be about liberation and feeling free. And so that's why a lot of people say that it's empowering to dress immodestly and it's about confidence. But if I could say for myself, as somebody that used to dress immodestly and wore revealing clothing, I wouldn't say that it's liberating or empowering, because like I said, you get a lot of people that come up to you for the wrong reasons and they just don't really treat you as a person. I'm trying not to have these thoughts of like, oh, all men suck and all men are bad, but I still kind of have thoughts like that and kind of feel like even when dressing modestly, like men, they still don't care. But obviously there are some good men out there, so I want to find a good man one day that I could marry. But anyways, I think that, when, like, I don't know, it's hard to talk about this because I feel like people just get mad about this topic, but like, because I kind of feel like no matter what you wear, some men are just still not going to treat you like a person. But when we are wearing like these really revealing clothings and having our butt cheeks fully out, like that's kind of just putting yourself out on display and kind of making yourself into a sexual object, right? But something that I think about is that when guys wear shorts, their shorts are really long, right? When they sit down on the chair, their butt cheeks are not touching the chair. With some of the stuff that us girls wear, we wear our shorts, we wear short skirts, we're sitting down and then our butt is like on the chair, and like that's kind of gross, if you think about it in terms of like cleanliness, right? Because when I would take the train to the beach in the summer, like it was a short skirt, but it was like a skirt because it had shorts underneath, so it was like okay that it was short. But then like my butt cheeks were like on the train station, and then it's like when I started becoming more modest, I'm like, what the heck? Like, how was I living like that before? Like, it's just weird that as women, our shorts are so much shorter than man's shorts. So that's kind of what I think about, and that's why I say that it's sexualizing women. A lot of the times when Christian women talk about how we should be dressing modestly, one of the things they say is that we should dress modestly so that we don't cause our brothers in Christ to stumble. And I don't like when people say that, and I'm not trying to say anything like that, because Jesus did say, if your eyes caused you to sin, then gouge them out, right? And so even if you're wearing the most modest outfit in the world, a man could still see you and start lusting after you and thinking, sinful thoughts about you. And that's not your fault, right? And if a man thinks that about you when you're wearing a revealing outfit, that still isn't your fault, because men have to be, responsible for their own thoughts, and they need to pray for the strength, not to be having all these lustful thoughts and to not sin, right? So I don't like when we put all the blame and all of the responsibility onto women. I think, though, that as a society, revealing clothing that women are wearing is getting out of control and it is getting out of hand. So I think that we do need to do better at being modest, but at the same time, we shouldn't be doing this because of men. We should be doing this because of our relationship with God, and we want to have a better relationship with God. And I'm not trying to say either that if you're wearing a revealing outfit, that's why a man violated you. Because we do know as society and the stories we hear that even if you're wearing the most modest outfit, a man could still violate you. So it's not about what you're wearing, but do your best to be not modest just because of your relationship with God. And then another thing I said to my mom was how I stand out now that I'm wearing a modest outfit, surrounded by people that aren't wearing a modest outfit. You will stand out more and you can still get noticed, but hopefully this time it's for the right reasons and not the wrong reasons, and I'm not trying to act like I'm better than other people, but I do definitely think that modesty is good, and the only reason that you stand out is because other people are pleasing the world and they're pleasing the male gaze. And I think that some people will dress immodestly and wear revealing clothing because they want male validation, but some people will just do it because it's what's the norm, and they want to just, be cool and dress with the norm, because sometimes I would do it for male validation, like if I was going to a party or if I was going to a bar, but other times I would just dress like that just because it was just what I did, and it was just what I consider to be normal. And then it's also just like the internalized male gaze that you don't even realize that you have, until you realize that you do. And then in a way you feel like I felt a little bit disgusted with myself, and I guess that's what conviction is, right? And so we obviously don't want to be ashamed of our bodies. God made us this way, and we look at, he made us this way, we look fine, but we don't want to, you don't need to be putting that on display, because you don't want that to be the first thing that somebody thinks when they see you. You want people to come up to you for your heart, and that's why you want to be known for your heart, not your body. You don't want your body to be like the main thing that you can offer to the world and to people. And I guess in a way that's kind of how I was displaying myself, as I'm only good for my body, and I guess that's how I was treated by some people, and I just don't want to live like that anymore. So the next thing I want to talk about is how I've decided that I'm not going to engage in hookup culture. And so I've decided this like several months ago, and I recently got back on the dating app, even though I made a video about how you shouldn't do that. I didn't hang out with anyone because I only had it for like 2 days. And then I ended up deleting it, guys, and I literally didn't get any matches. So I got Upward. It was like the Christian dating site, and I didn't get any matches. I mean, to be fair, I was only swiping on hot people, and I only had it for like 2 days. But I realized, it's not that I didn't get any matches because I'm ugly. It's because God is protecting me, and my husband is not on this app. And even though it's a Christian dating site, some people could still be on there just to hook up with somebody, and now I decided that, I want to do the best that I can to save myself for marriage, so hopefully I'm able to do that. And so I realized that I'm not ready to get married and have kids, so I should not even be on the dating apps, and I need to advance more in my career, because I don't really like this job that I have right now, guys, so I want to get a different job. And so I need to focus on that, get off the dating apps and get on Indeed. But so I bring this up because back in the summer, I went to the Yankees game with my friend. Then we went to a bar, obviously worldly activity. That was the last time I went to the bar, and because of this whole situation, I decided I'm not going to the bars anymore, and I want to be sober. But so anyways, we meet these guys, we end up leaving with them. It becomes a situation where my friend is in the room with that guy, they're hooking up, whatever, and then it's me and the other guy are in the other room, and then it's kind of the situation's like, oh, well, in the past it would have been like, well, I guess now I have to hook up with this guy, like, that's just what I have to do, that's what people do, but since then, he caught me at a bad time, well, for him, so since I was a born-again virgin at the time, and I was a Christian, I stayed strong, and I did not, have sex with him. We did kiss, but I didn't do anything more than that, for him. And so he was acting very shocked, what, you don't want to do this? He was acting kind of entitled. I mean, he was somewhat respectful, I guess. I mean, he only asked me 2 times if I wanted to, and then I was I said no, and then he later asked me again, and he's like, well, why not? And then I was like, well, what's a good reason? And he's like, because you don't want to? And then I said, well, yeah, I already said that. But he was acting like I didn't have a good reason, and it wasn't valid, and he was really shocked. And it was kind of weird. It wasn't I left with you. It was a situation we left with a group of people, and then it turned into only being us two. I don't know, guys, it was just weird, but he was just acting very entitled and shocked, and it was expected of me to do this, to just give myself away to him, right? And obviously in the past I would have done that, and I would have just been not valuing myself and just thinking this is what people do. I guess I have to do this, whatever. I don't even care. It doesn't mean anything, but we know now that it does mean something. And people talk about soul ties and stuff, so I guess pray to get rid of them. I felt only one time did I feel bad in my body from having sex with someone. Like, my body literally hurt afterwards. Like, my chest was hurting me. Then it went away. Then I hooked up with him again, and then it happened again. And I was like, oh, okay, it's definitely from this person. Like, they had very bad toxic energy, right? That actually happens one other time with somebody else. But for the most part, for me, what would just happen is just feeling bad about myself the next day and just feeling used and like, why did I do this? This person doesn't care about me. And it's just not good. So now I know that my body is a temple, and it says in the Bible that, we need to offer our bodies as a living sacrifice for God. And so we don't want to just be allowing people to enter our temple, if it's not our husband. That's something else that I've given up, and I'm not living for the world. In that instance, like, if I was in the headspace of living for the world and living for men and living to please men, I would have just, did that with that guy. But since I wasn't, I didn't. And in today's society, people are very sex positive. So if you decide that you're going to be abstinent or save yourself till marriage, a lot of people may think that it's weird of you to do that, and they might judge you for it and call you a prude and all these things, right? But in the Bible, in James 4, verse 4, it says that if you make yourself a friend to the world, you make yourself an enemy to God, So giving in to hookup culture and just telling yourself like, oh, it's okay, like, it doesn't matter, if I do this, like, it'll be fine. Then you're making yourself a friend to the world, yes, and, maybe you could get some people to like you for a few moments, right? But then you're making yourself an enemy to God. And again, we want to please God, not the world, and we want to live for God. And people will also say that, being sex positive, it's empowering and it's liberating for women. But for me, I would say that I've never felt liberated or empowered, from hooking up with people, because most of them, they just don't care about you, at the end of the day. And then it just makes you feel bad about yourself, and it's just not worth it. And this verse touches on that. 1 John chapter 2, verse 15 to 17. Do not love this world, nor the things it offers you. When you love the world, you do not have the love of the Father in you. For the world offers only a craving for physical pleasure, a craving for everything we see, and pride in our achievements and possessions. They are not from the Father, but are from this world. And this world is fading away along with everything that people crave. But anyone who does what pleases God will live forever. So these moments, of hooking up with people, they don't last very long. You feel good about yourself in the moment, but then it is fleeting. You feel good because that's like an easy way to feel, loved by another person, and to feel close to somebody, and to have some sort of feel a connection with somebody. But it's fleeting and it doesn't last, because then most of the time maybe they don't ever want to see you again, or they do want to see you, but only for that one thing, and they just end up making you feeling bad about yourself. So it's not worth it. Instead, you just gotta do things that are going to be more fulfilling for your soul and your spirit. You get a hobby. That is what is going to, make you happy. And obviously having friends is good. So that's what I do when I was like, all right, I got to get off the dating apps, and instead I'll make a painting or crochet something, whip out my sewing machine, think of something else to do, because I cannot be on these apps wasting my time. So those are the two things that I really wanted to talk about. There's obviously other things for not living for the world, which I've got convicted about watching too much Netflix. I was watching Young Sheldon, and I was like binge watching it a lot, watching it for like 3 hours. I watched it for 3 hours, and then the next day I watched it again for 3 hours. I was like really convicted about it, so I was like, I gotta stop watching it. In my mind, I told myself, well, it's okay to watch this show because there's a little bit of Christianity in it, because if you don't know that show, like, the family goes to church, and so you see a little bit of them at the church, and the mom's a Christian, but it's like there's other things in there that's just not godly, and it is worldly things like gambling, drinking, premarital relations. So that, I wouldn't say that's a Christian show. It has a little bit of Christian components in it, but it's definitely not a Christian show. So I was convicted, so I haven't watched that in a few days. So now I gotta lock in, gotta read my Bible, or only watch like Bible related stuff. Obviously it's okay to watch a little bit of other stuff. Is it even? I don't know. Like, now I'm thinking, I'm just thought to myself, this sermon at my church when he said that people want to worship God, but they want to have a little taste of the world. So it's like a little taste. I'll watch Young Sheldon on Netflix. It's okay to do that. Like, there's some shows that are not necessarily, I'm thinking of like something that's like not necessarily Christian, but it's still godly and good and doesn't have bad things in it. I don't know what that would be. Maybe a Disney movie. But then I saw a video on here about how they put Disney movies have some other type of religion in them. I didn't watch the video. I just saw it, like the thumbnail of it. But yeah, that's what I got to focus on now. I got first things down: modesty, abstinence, check. Well, you got to focus on that every day. When you go out and if you're buying new clothes, you got to be aware, stay strong, only buy modest clothes. And then the other thing is you got to just stay off the dating apps, And I really don't talk to boys in person, so I feel like I guess I'm good on that. But I just gotta focus on what I watch, and I mostly only listen to Christian music. So I want to just stop watching Netflix or anything, because it's just a distraction and it's pulling me away from my goals. So thank you so much for listening. Please like and comment if this was helpful for you, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!